our fears. In a world so heavy, it's a breath of fresh air. Voices that resonate, hearts laid bare. Oh, little black raincloud, bring your thunder. Raindrops of wisdom, pulling us from under.
Good morning, little black rain clouds. It is snowing here in the Chicagoland area. So we have rain clouds, but they are now frozen rain clouds. We're going to start this episode off with a trigger warning, which I believe Nico also is putting up. This is, all of our episodes are deep, but this one definitely is, this is not meant for young ears. It's not meant for sensitive ears. And if you are triggered by assault, I would definitely shy away from this episode. We are going to be real. We are going to be honest. We are going to be truthful. There will be real stories today. But we will also be honoring those who have survived and the strength that they have found in their survival. And we are not going to pull any punches about the perpetrators. So there will be no love loss there. So with that, please, if you need to turn the episode off, go ahead and do so now. And we will see you on next episode, which I believe will also need a trigger warning because it will be our child abuse episode. Okay. With that, let's go ahead and just pop our guests right on in, because otherwise I feel like I'm talking to myself, which I do a lot. They call it expert advice. So you guys look really familiar to the podcast. We've seen you before.
Mostly his arm.
Yeah, my arm.
We saw Shanti in another episode, all of Shanti's face and part of Nathan's arm when he was the disembodied arm. Let me give you another intro. This is Nathan. The tall one is Nathan, as you can see right there. He's also closer to the camera, so, looks deceiving. Still taller. This is Nathan. And then to his right, our left, is Miss Shanti. Not only are they people that I met through work, but they are also family now. And we've decided that between the three of us, we collectively share a brain. We all have one, but they all work better together, I think. So as much as I don't love that we're all in this club together, I'm glad that we can be in this together, if that made any sense. Okay. So I didn't write anything for this. Yeah. So I'm not even sure what our trigger words are. Nico, do we have trigger words I'm not allowed to say on this one?
Let's say all the words.
R word? Am I allowed to use the R word?
Yeah,
like I said, as long as it's the way that you use it.
Okay. So not suggesting we do the thing, but talking about the act of and it being a thing that happened. Okay. Okay.
Sexual assault.
Is sexual assault better in terminology than? Okay. We'll go with that. And I got to razz him every time Kent's not here today, so we won't even need the S word. No, we're good. He says it every time. I feel like I just stick it in there every once in a while now because, in memory of, even though he's like, wherever he is right now, he's somewhere in the town. Anyway, yeah, basketball. That makes sense. Okay. So I don't know where you start with sexual assault. First of all, if you are currently going through active victimization, we're going to make sure that there are some hotlines and whatnot in the description. They're below in the description. 911 is always a safe bet. call 911, get out, get safe, get a trusted person, get as far away from your, assailant as humanly possible. All right, let's just dive in. Can I put you on the spot, Nathan?
Do it.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's get a little bit words. Let's get a little bit of background on you, Nathan. Share who are you?
Oh gosh, who am I?
That's the hardest question to answer.
Right. Well, let's see. I'm 53 years old. 3 kids, 2 grandkids coming on the way. Currently, like Hope says, we work together in doing the things that we do. I've got 23 years retired law enforcement experience as well. And during that time, I investigated many sexual assaults. Whenever you want, what specific questions do you have, Hope? What do you want me to say specifically?
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where I don't want to just jump in and say, well, what's your sexual assault story there, Nathan?
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay. So my parents were divorced when I was 5, and my mother got custody of us. And then her second husband, I will never call him stepfather, he never qualified as that. He had a buddy, a friend who liked little kids. And so, of course, he was a trusted friend of the family. So, when I'm 7 years old, I was left in his care quite often. Yeah. Not the best choice.
Got it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure if this is how I respond to it because of my own experiences. But if you were to give me 2 entirely valid stories, scenarios, one is a 30-year-old woman and one is a 3-year-old girl, that 3-year-old girl story will always hit me harder.
Sure.
I said this to Cappuccino just, what was that, half an hour ago? If you look at a child and say yum,
yeah,
that's a problem.
Yeah, that's a, pardon the language, that's a fucking problem.
Yeah, it is.
You look at a child and in any way sexualize that, then there is a certain place in hell for you.
Yeah.
Just like 2 levels below, sexually, actual hell. It's 2 levels below sexual assault in and of itself, which is already horrific. Let's talk about, from a law enforcement standpoint, what does the motive look like? I mean, is that something you even look at motive for?
Generally not. Just a matter of did you do it?
Yeah, the act itself doesn't matter why.
The fact that it happened, I don't give a shit why it happened.
Well, are there different degrees, sort of like with murder?
So, okay. Depending what state you're in, there's different classifications for levels of sexual assault. My legal experience is with one specific state, not California. Some is just exposing yourself.
Right.
Okay, that's stupid in and of itself. Some depends on age differences. The whole Romeo and Juliet thing.
Right.
California is really big on that one. But no, if you're talking, which you normally are, young kid and old guy, that's just unacceptable. I don't care why you did it.
Right.
There's no excuse, no reason. Yeah.
So that was something we were talking about. Again, it was 30 minutes ago, maybe not even. There, obviously, you have a sexual predator list. There are people on that list that and even all my experience, do not believe need to be on that list. I have a buddy who was watching a porn. The girl in the movie had a fake ID, fake documents. She was 17. She didn't look 17. She looked like she was in her mid-20s. And he got busted for child pornography.
Sure.
I'm like, hold on. That doesn't need to be on anybody's watch list. He wasn't into kids. It just that that's a weird gray area for me. I also don't think it needs to be on a list, but I also, yeah, Cappuccino's here.
Hey folks, how you doing? Cappuccino in the background here. I have the face for radio, so therefore I'm in the back. But listen, so I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of common sense on the table here. Hope's obviously having a little bit of a rough time because there's obviously a trigger story there for her as well. Yeah. So listen, there is the cliff, and the cliff is on either side, right? People that claimed they were assaulted, that they weren't, but ruined lives. People that were assaulted aren't taking as serious because of things like that as well. So listen, and there's countries that the legal age of marriage is like 16, 15, I think maybe even 14. So where is it really morally wrong? Well, in the book of Cappuccino is if they're unaware of what's happening, wrong. If you're taking and it's not wanted, wrong. Right? If you are on a list and your victim is of a certain age and you have multi, and obviously we have a law enforcement on air here today, but if that list that you have on that app on your, I don't even know why they do that. It's a hit list. It's a Cappuccino hit list. So
they made a show about that. It's called Dexter.
I think that, you know, it's always going to be the uncle, the uncle's friend. It's going to be the priest. It's going to be the female teacher, right?
Yes, we just touched on that too. For the record, for everybody listening, sexual assault is not just committed by men.
No.
By a long shot. Right. There are women that do the same thing, and it's disgusting either way, and it deserves to be looked at. That men are assaulted.
Yes.
Not just assaulting. Correct. Women are assaulted and not just assaulting.
Correct.
So
everybody be cool.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's another thing we also talked about, that it really doesn't have anything to do with, I know it's called sexual assault, but it really doesn't have anything to do with sex.
Mm-hmm.
About control.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times it's about control. And all of the things you just listed, schools, churches, somebody's uncle, somebody's uncle's friend.
Somebody's hands.
Yeah. The reason that that's happening is you don't hear about, you're never hearing stories that sound like trash collector sexually assaults child or sexually assaults woman or man, or you don't hear that. You want to know why? Because schools and churches are target-rich environments. It is the crime of opportunity, and monsters go where prey lives.
Yeah, so and you're 100% correct, or at least in my opinion, I should say.
Well, I appreciate it.
You know, one of the things that is so overlooked and so overturned, we hear about these individual cases of assault, and then the survivability of it, how to adapt back to life and civilization after tragedy. And listen, PTSD doesn't just have a bias to veterans; it's anybody,
it's everybody,
and everything. And you know, Nathan's law enforcement, he's probably seen a lot of things. Those things probably haunt him just the same, right? But there are, well, let's talk about trafficking, right? So there's herds of cattle now, right, that are being stolen and moved around for these purposes. So we're not just talking about these individual things. And I guess, Nathan, let me ask you a question. I've heard a few things based on this to where these are signs that you're being stalked, right? Like the zip tie around the car door handle, or someone tying a baggie somewhere on your car that's marked you for somebody. That's the one. Like, you send in the guy, he does the deal on the car. There's another car waiting, follows you around and stalks you. Have you heard about this? Is this a thing?
I've heard about these things. I've never personally seen them. You go into the grocery store and you come out and there's a flyer on your window or something like that. Drive away. Don't stop and take that off your windshield right there. Drive away. Deal with it later.
Yeah, same thing with the zip
Give
tie.
someone a good opportunity to get you in a compromising physical position.
I don't know if this was because I am the only granddaughter. And I was the only grandchild on one side, but when I was little, my grandfather made it very clear when I was learning how to drive, when you open your driver's door, you always check the back seat. You always check it. And I'm like, why? I didn't leave anything back there. He's like, no, you make sure that there's nobody there, that they didn't get into your car and are in the back seat, which now that's the stuff of nightmares, for the record.
Well, sure.
But to this day, I just turned 38 years old. I still look in the back seat of the vehicle. I lock the doors when I get in. And that brings up another thing. The fear, because of things that are absolutely happening, the fear that it instills in a society is mind-blowing to me. I mean, women a lot of times are taught how to walk down the street, what to carry in their hands. And I'm not saying that it's necessarily a bad tactic to have your keys in between your fingers, but why should it have to be done? And I think one thing we haven't talked about yet is consent. Let's define consent.
Right. So let me touch base a little bit on the truck of walking down the street and being aware. Now, listen, and I know Nathan can contest to this. If wherever you grow up, you have what's called a basic knowledge of doing. If I'm a South Side Italian kid, I grew up in the South Side of Chicago.
I'm so sorry.
You have to, and I come from a crazy Italian family, so no matter what you're doing, you're looking over your shoulder, right? It's always good to be aware of your surroundings.
Of course.
Sometimes headphones are the curse. When you're wearing headphones, I can't wear earpods or headphones on both ears. I need to know the sound around me. Yeah. I need to know, but that's how I was kind of brought up.
Hypervigilance is the thing that Italian families teach anyway.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. And we're crazy anyway, right?
Speak for yourself.
And then moving into the consent side of things.
Yeah.
If the answer is no, it's no. It's always been. That hasn't changed. And it will change. If the answer is no, it's no.
No is a complete sentence.
Correct. Well, it's no period, right? No period. And then that's or exclamation point.
Yeah.
To be in a situation to where you feel trapped and you don't have the knowledge not to put yourself in that situation, and that's not a fault to you. That's you want to live your life as free as possible,
right? Without
worry. And I get that. Unfortunately, the world is filled with experiences and differences, and some of them are good and some of them are horrible. And if you can find the gray area and make it through life, great. If let's touch base a little, because I know you're kind of wish-washing around some stuff here. Yeah. So I'm going to help you through this. Okay.
Yeah, I'm an open book. I just don't know where to start.
I know. So let me ask you a question. You have a story, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Of something that happened to you that was very traumatic to you and it has affected your life.
Yes.
Tell me on the side of where the consent was no, and then let me know how you're working on overcoming it for those out there that might need a little information they haven't even thought of.
Okay. You brought up not being aware that this was not supposed to be a thing, right. Which I think comes with age. I was 4.
Yep.
Possibly 5. It gets a little blurry in those couple of years.
Friend, family,
uncle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he alive today?
He's lucky he's not.
Oh, well.
Because I've never shared this with anybody.
Sure.
Except my therapist, who, hears about it ad nauseum. And my husband knows, but my family doesn't know.
Well, they do now.
They do now. And for the record, we're talking my dad's side. My mother's side is crazy, but they're not criminal.
Mm.
And I can't exactly pinpoint what exactly happened. I know that I was struggling to get away, and I know I was screaming and crying. I know that I was being held up against a wall. I was little. I wasn't up. I was on the wall. I wasn't on the floor. I was up off the floor. And I remember a cousin of mine, who I will not say which one, for their sake, because they're the good guy in this, or
The savior.
yeah, in the story, got me out of the house, and in the backyard of this particular house, there used to be a pine tree that had like a little makeshift shanty fort underneath it. It was definitely not safe. It was the 80s, or it was the 90s, actually.
Nothing was safe in the 80s. and
No,
90s.
right, exactly. But Shanti and I have had this discussion many times. The cousin got me into the tree house, which was actually underneath the pine, not like up high. And I was told that I needed to stay in the tree until my dad got there. And as a child, you don't really understand the concept of passing time. I don't.
An hour is a day.
Right. It could have been an hour. It could have been 6. I don't know.
Sure.
My dad, I don't even know why I was at this house, to be honest, because it was very unlike my parents to leave me with anybody of his moral character. And I don't know if there was an emergency, if something was going on, if maybe my grandfather had to go somewhere and my father had to take him. I don't know the details, and the person that does know the details, I've never been able to get drunk enough to tell me. Not for lack of trying. But I was put into the treehouse, and when my dad finally got there, he was very confused why I had sap all over my butt and my thighs and my legs, because I was sitting under a tree without pants and without my, what I would have called back then, fancy pants, because I was already potty trained.
Yeah.
So I had to have been at least 3. I had to have been at least 3 because my nana was already gone. So again, that's how I'm placing time. We moved out of Illinois when I was 7. I was wearing fancy pants, which were those little like frilly things that went over the regular underwear to make them look cute under.
Is it a pull up or some kind?
I honestly don't think that. I had to have been potty trained already.
Okay.
Just based on time. But didn't know where the underwear were. Why did I have sap all over me? There were no real good ways for my dad to ask questions, so he didn't. What do you ask a kid that's sitting under a tree? Why don't you have underwear on? Well, I'm a kid. I mean, there's lots of kids that don't like underwear.
Correct.
I mean, hell, I grew up with underwear. I think I just protest too much. Anyway, not the point. I don't like pants either, and Shanti will back me up on that one.
We found Farrell. It's fine.
Restraints is what my
They
daughter
are
calls
leg
them.
restraints. They're just not. So nothing was ever really said. Nothing was asked. Nothing
So it
was
was like
said.
it was just move on, move forward. No one
Right.
said anything. The one who saved you didn't bring it up. Didn't tell mom or dad. Didn't do anything like that.
Now, to the person who got me into the tree's defense, they were also a child. They were also a child. They obviously knew something was wrong, being, older, but had more wisdom than I did. But I know that later, I also remember like series of like, there was always fighting between this particular uncle and my dad. They were never good. there came a point where we actually moved out of Illinois. It was when I was 7 or 8 to Colorado, and we didn't speak to that side of the family for years, and it never occurred to me why. I still don't know that was the reason. I did bring this up to my mom once. She didn't know, and honestly, if she would have known, she would have murdered this person. There would have been no saving him.
Yeah.
And maybe that's for the best because my mom doesn't look good in orange.
I mean, you were given the person a little bit of a benefit of the doubt because they're a kid, and I suppose that should be taken, into account. But they didn't hide because they knew it was right. Like,
right, exactly.
On some level, they understood what they were doing was either maybe it was an adult thing that they shouldn't be doing, and they could have, conflated that, or they did know on some level what they were doing is wrong and had to hide it.
Right. Well, the fact that I was screaming and crying was a pretty good.
That should be an indicator that maybe stop. Yeah. That's a baseline one.
And not, I was not at all happy with this individual, and
that's not even a consent thing. You're 4.
Yeah.
It's the answer is no.
The answer is no. Yeah.
So yeah, I can see the frustration with it.
So now with that, it brings up another thing. There are aspects of my personality as I grew up that were probably very different than they would have been if that had not been an issue.
Yep.
If you ask any of my friends and family growing up, don't touch Hope. She doesn't like being touched.
Yep.
Don't come near me if I don't know you're there because I swing. If somebody sneaks up behind me, my husband is like a freaking ninja. Like I really do need to put bells around his neck.
Okay.
Truly, let's just go on full cowbell because the man is stealth. The man can literally sneak up on me, and I don't know how. I've spent 38 years not letting people sneak up on me. He'll sneak up on me, and I'm telling you, there's been a couple times I've almost punched him out, and not because I want to, but because he scared me, and I turn around swinging.
Right.
And that's not a Sicilian trait. That's a trauma response. I don't want to be touched. I still don't love when people hug me. I mean, I hugged you earlier, but they know you, and I'm safe.
My daughter's that way, without the trauma. But yeah, she's that way. She doesn't want to be touched.
I don't.
Even as her father hugging her she has to initiate
it. Yeah. So, and that's what happened with you and I. You said, "Give me a hug," but you didn't advance until I advanced towards you. And I don't know if that's because with your daughter, you're already expecting the necessity of having her,
maybe. Listen, I'm a hugger. I'm a warm, fuzzy teddy bear Italian kid. You know what I mean? Everybody needs a hug in my book. But some people I usually ask. Yeah. I don't, or I'm like, I'm a hugger, and some are like, I'm not, so I'll fist bump them.
Yeah.
But
you gave me the chance.
I'm old school.
You gave me that chance to have my own agency, have my own thought, whether or not
your decision. Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's consent in and of itself.
Sure. So what are the steps, real quick? So, I mean, this is a long time ago, and obviously it's still affecting you. So what are the steps that you do to try to overcome it?
One of the steps was given to me. I was very, very fortunate. Marry a man who understands. My first
partnership.
Yeah. Pause that thought for 2 seconds. Nathan, can I ask how old you were when this was happening to you?
I was 7.
7. You did say that. You did. Did it affect your intimate relationships later?
I obviously it did somehow. Specifically, how I couldn't tell you. It was the gamified. He made it into fun things, right? Like you said, consent. It's not an issue. It's always a no. I didn't know that it should have been a no.
Right. Okay. And that's what
the awareness I'm talking about.
Well, and that's what predators do when they're grooming. It's a game. There's a reward, or there's a fear base. There is something triggering the child to not scream, to not talk, to think it's okay, to say, oh, if I let this happen, I get this.
Mhm.
That is not okay. And
Well, and as a kid, it's if for an adult, it's easy to say that kid does not know what they're talking about.
right.
They're a kid. They're
Yeah.
confused.
They're a child.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
And you're a fucking monster.
Correct.
There's no other way to say it. You're a fucking monster. I can definitely say the steps though that I've taken. A lot of therapy. I meet my deductible every year
Yeah.
for therapy alone. I would say a lot of talking about it, but the only person I talked to about it up until today has been my therapist and my husband. And the only reason my husband knows is because he had an emotional awareness. For those of you who don't know, my husband, Dustin, who you've seen on the show a couple of times. And I think everybody in this room knows Dustin, including Nathan and Shanti.
Shout out.
Yep. Shout out to Dustin. Honestly, he's the real MVP in this story, other than the cousin that put me in the tree. Because Dustin was my first intimate, consensual experience. And for the record, I was 18, for those of you doing the math, because he's older than me. And he made it very clear, you're not 18. No. Like, he made that decision for me, but on the right side of the cliff, you know? Anyway, so he and I had our first experience, but part of the way through, before it really became an actual thing, I like froze. Like, I started to have a panic attack. I had never had an experience before, you know, where I
Outside of that, right?
Outside of that, right? And he stopped. And I feel like I'm telling on Dustin and his secrets here, but they're important to hear. He stopped and he said, we're not doing anything else until we have a discussion. And he literally, we were in a tent camping, by the way. Sex intense. It's intense. Yes. Anyway.
I'm writing that down.
Fire into this.
So he backed up. He got away from my sleeping bag. He sat like in the other corner of the tent, which is still like a foot and a half away.
Sure, but he gave you space.
He gave me the space and he said, we need to talk about this, because if it's not right for you, it's not right for us. And he said, it's safe. Nobody's going to come in this tent. Nobody's going to hurt you. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to touch you again until you say, okay. We had a whole conversation. I cried. There was snot. How sexy is that?
Some people pay extra for that.
They do. There's a whole website for that.
Oh, yes. That's on Nico's website, by the way.
He's like, yeah. I was like, it's in my phone. But he gave me that moment to be vulnerable without feeling like I was wrong. And it was the first time I had ever said anything. And it was also the first time, and one of the few times, that I was told, this isn't your fault. This wasn't your fault. And he still, to this day, he can tell if I'm not in a good headspace. He can tell, like, she seems off today. Like yesterday, like, we had every intention of like, being, you know, intimate or whatever. But then he said, oh, you're working a lot on this podcast for tomorrow. You're not in the right headspace. You're not.
Yeah, the mindset, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know.
He's like, and where is your brain going to be while we're doing this? So that's one of the big steps, was finding somebody that understood. He doesn't understand in the way of experiencing it, but he understands it in a way of, I'm your safe place. And literally, as I was driving here, I got this text. Shout out to Dustin on this. It says, I know today will be tough. Just know I love you and will always be here for you and support you always.
You're a good dude, man.
Right?
Yeah, that was very sweet.
For all the times he and I have argued.
With him,
I did win the game with him.
There's only one other better than him, and I'm behind the microphone.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got to pay my wife to say that. Listen.
Where's my mic?
So now that you've kind of opened up about that, and nothing ever really makes you feel better, but you're taking all these right steps. You got therapy. You have a podcast that you're reaching out to. So now let's kind of pivot a little bit, right? So Nathan, let's talk about predators and let's give some advice to predators. How about that? Right? Because people that might watch this, and if they're in the mindset or the headspace of, hey, these are the urges, this is what I've been following this woman from Starbucks. She's into me. Some people just think that way, and they're delusional, right?
Well, and that's the problem. I think they don't have the self-awareness to even know that they need help a lot of the time.
No, they think it's normal. A lot of them, it's a normal thing. Now, listen, quick story. Growing up at 9 years old, sitting on the front porch, 55th and Kedzie, is where I'm from.
Oh.
Kitty corner to there. Now, listen, my mother's an ex-nun in the Roman Catholic Church. So me and my best friend, Mike, we're sitting on the porch. We got the boom box. It's the 80s.
Is there Mad Dog 2020 involved?
Yeah, we did a lot of Boone's Farm and Mad Dog, sneaking that out of the cabinets. There's a lot of throwing up involved in those stories. However, my mom would walk up the stairs and out of the blue, she points to the corner house and says, stay away from over there. That woman's going to try to touch your penis. And I was like, wow, that was like right field, right? And so Mike and I looked at each other, and then she goes in the house. And he was like, I'll go see if we can get our penises touched. I was like, fuck yeah. Because, I mean, we're 9-year-old boys. We're crazy. And so now
that backfired.
Right? There's predators out there that, hey, they're curious. Right? And then it's too late after the fact to be like, yeah, I got it touched, but now I'm fucked in the head. So Nathan, what kind of advice for people who are out there, number one, to protect themselves? There's some tips and tricks. I mean, you've obviously seen a lot of this. You've been involved in it yourself. And then what advice would you give the predators out there? Because you can't catch them all, right? They're ongoing. That you would say, why for them to identify it within themselves, to look at it in the virtual mirror?
That's a hard thing, man. If they have any self-awareness at all, I would just say, don't. No means no. If no is ever offered, in case of Hope or myself, too young, can't even say no. Don't know to say no. Don't be a dick.
Right.
Just don't be a dick. Don't do things that are going to hurt somebody in any way, shape, or form.
Well, like you said with the kid, yes and no doesn't matter. It's a no regardless, even if they say yes. Even if you occasionally watch something and it seems pretty apparent lie, but it's like someone will say, "Oh, well, the kid just kept coming on to me." It's like, okay, even pretend that's true. You still say no. You're the adult.
The fact that you said kid in that sentence is a no.
Right.
I know, right? Exactly. Like, yeah, let's pull back on that, but let's pretend somehow some kid saw something sexual and was trying to like recreate it with this adult. You tell them no. What did the 8-year-old overpower you? What?
This is
No.
wildly inappropriate. And no, and I know it's totally okay to tell somebody. I understand that at your age, you're having thoughts, you have urges, you're discovering things, and I understand that because everybody goes through that. But I am an adult, and you are a child, and this is inappropriate,
right,
and not okay. And we're not going to go down this road because I want what's best for you and your childhood.
Well, like, I mean, I don't know if this is a silly example, but when I was really, really little, and I remember it really well because I got very embarrassed, I must have been 2 or 3. I saw people French kissing on TV. And when my mom got home from work that day, I slipped her a tongue and she was like, whoa, but I had no idea. I just saw it on TV.
That's what kids do. They mimic. That's how they learn.
I wasn't coming on to her.
No.
And that's where I think that the disjointed logic comes in.
Right. You didn't know what it meant.
Nope. Got told real quick.
And if you're just going to try to convince these offenders to not do the inappropriate things, well, you appeal to whatever part of them you can. You say, hey, you're going to get caught. You're going to go to prison. And that's if you're lucky. Because if you're not lucky, you're going to have a pissed off family member or a victim who is now of age and remembers what happened come and confront you. I buried everything from mine until I was, 18, 19, and things started coming back. And I was 19 or 20, and I decided to hunt down my guy.
Nice.
And I asked around. I found where he was supposed to have been. And then I found him in a grave. He had died a few months before of nasty, nasty cancer.
I never wish cancer on anyone, but if it has to,
he fucking deserved every bit of it.
Oh God, yeah. I mean,
mine's dead too, and
not as satisfying because you didn't do it.
But also, when you started your intro, your first thing was, "I'm Nathan," but then you also went first and foremost was, "I have 3 kids, 2 grandkids,
Correct.
and 1 on the way." And if you had have done, you're a very smart individual. I don't know that you would have been caught, but had you been caught, wrong place, wrong time, those 3 kids, 2 grandkids, and 1 on the way wouldn't have you.
No, and I don't know how the confrontation would have gone if I'd have just said something, or if I'd have shoved a screwdriver in his eye. I don't know what would have happened. It was a long time ago.
I like Nathan.
I don't imagine there's very many people who don't like Nathan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, man. So when you hurt, this is why the world today, we're holding our kids a little tighter. We're not letting them a little more free. The street light comes on, come home thing is gone. It's a different world. It's really not a different world. It's just we're more aware of what the world is because of the internet. And seeing and having real-time information of what's happening out there. These are our children, man. I don't care if they're my kids or somebody else's kids. I look after all kids the best I can because that's the future of our race of people. Mm-hmm. And rightfully so. I'm also not the friend. I'm a parent, which I don't know if that's today is a whole different world on how kids are raised. But I was raised to be aware. Maybe I was ahead of my time or not. I got in a lot of trouble at a very young. I come from a neighborhood to where I got cracked by a neighbor for being stupid before I got to my father.
And then you got it again.
And as a matter of fact, I got a neighbor. I was throwing rocks at a window one time. I had a neighbor, old man Mr. Walters, came out on his porch, grabbed me by the back of my neck, drugged me in his house, called my father, and was like, "Tony, your son's over here breaking windows." What did my father say? "Start without me." So I come. It takes a village, right?
I was going to say that, but you know what would have been worse? Had Mr. Walters?
Yeah,
it'd have been worse if he called your mother.
Yeah, no.
It would have been worse.
No. So mom was everything. Dad was the big disciplinary for anything. He was very intimidating.
Oh, my
mom already knew that there was a power of 2 coming out of 1. She didn't have to go that way.
My dad, as Sicilian as he was, I'd rather have pissed him off than my mother.
Yeah.
Any day. I'll take the Sicilian over the Irish.
Well, you're also a female.
There.
Nothing but boys in my house growing up.
So I did write something. I had every plan on, we're going to wrap up soon, but I had every plan to do this thing. I sent Shanti a text about this last night. I was like, I'm going to do something radical. I had every intention of coming in here with my jacket and being all zipped up. And I was going to read what I'm about to read. But after that, I was going to take my jacket off and I was going to have the lace top that I like. I usually wear a spaghetti strap under it, but I was just going to have a bra. And that this is not an invitation. I wear this because I want to. But then I thought there's it'll be in the description. There's an installation, an exhibit from the Susan B. Anthony Project of all of the clothing worn by victims when they were assaulted. And I looked through it again this morning, and the first thing on there was a Disney princess's nightie for a little child, for a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I said it didn't matter what I was wearing. It didn't matter if, she was asking for it, because that's not what it was about. I was a child. Nathan was a child. There are so many women that were in the pictures were wearing sweatpants and a stained hoodie. It's not about sex. It's about control and taking. It has nothing to do with what you're wearing. So if someone says, "Oh, you shouldn't wear that outside because you're giving the wrong impression," fuck that person. First of all,
you're asking for it.
Yeah, you're asking
Really?
for it. Like, okay, what in the 1920s?
Moron.
Yeah, exactly. What in the 1920s are you doing here? Earl.
Where is your time travel?
Yeah, for real. But I do want to read this one thing, because we've talked a lot about victims and what they can do, and that it's not their fault that they didn't ask for it. All of the things that you're always hearing. But does anybody truly give a discussion to the perpetrator? So I wrote this last night. Forgive me. I'm going to read it from my phone because obviously I didn't memorize it yet. To anyone who has ever violated another human being, listen up. Whether you slipped through the consequences, hid behind silence, or told yourself a story to soften what you did, listen closely. You were never powerful. You were never in control. You were never dominant. You were small. Every choice you made only proved how small. People with real strength, real confidence, real humanity do not take what isn't given. They don't lure, they don't pressure, corner, confuse, or overpower. They don't reach for someone who did not reach back. What you did wasn't desire. It wasn't passion. It wasn't a mistake. It was a cowardice. It was entitlement. It was an act of someone who could not handle their own emptiness without using another person's body as a prop. You told yourself a lie to survive the truth. They wanted it. They owed me. It wasn't that bad. They'll get over it. They won't even remember it. But here's the thing about lies. You have to repeat them every day because the truth keeps coming to the surface. The truth is this: consent is not optional. It is not flexible. It's not something you get to invent after the fact. Silence is not consent. Fear is not consent. Compliance is not consent. You didn't misunderstand. You didn't misread. You chose. You may never face a courtroom because you're fucking dead already. But you already stand convicted by the reality of who you revealed yourself to be. And for the record, your victims don't owe you a damn thing. Not forgiveness, not my silence, not our understanding, and no comfort. You get to live with what you did, and now you get to die with what you did. And every time you try to puff yourself up, remember, anyone who needs to force themselves on another human being isn't powerful. They're pathetic. And that's what I think.
Well said. I'd like to add a little bit to that, Hope.
Yeah.
In my experience, a lot of the offenders, they're going to give the excuse of, well, I was assaulted when I was a kid, and that's the reason I'm doing this. I have to. It's not my fault. I'm pretty sure that you can get through life having been a victim without victimizing others.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right?
Turns out.
I'm not out here sexually assaulting anybody.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta be a real human being and not hurt others. And then for the victims also, I don't care how long it's been since you were assaulted, talk to somebody, report it. Some states do actually have a statute of limitations, 15 years, 25 years, whatever, depending on the age you were when it took place, whatever. Even if the statute has expired, make a report, talk to somebody about it, because at the very least, you're going to get the offender on somebody's radar.
Exactly.
And they will reoffend. Nobody does it once.
Well, and yeah, and that's the thing too. Create, if nothing else, a paper trail so that the next person's like, oh, well, this isn't just out of the blue behavior, because that it seems like that's what people are like. Well, he never did it before. Well, that you know of.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We've got a song that was actually sent to me originally. I'm not going to put their name out here, but by a victim. And you know what? That was Survivor. This person is badass. Sent me the song when they were going through their initial therapy journey. And it's you're allowed to be angry. That's allowed.
Yep.
So I want to wrap up with this song. It won't be on the Spotify version because I think they're going to flag it, but we're going to put the name in the description as well in case you want to
give credit to.
Yeah, absolutely. Because this song, it's not sugarcoating anything. So I want to thank my guests for being here today. Thank you. It
was nice meeting you, by the way.
Yes. Thank you guys for being here again, for, always being in my corner. I appreciate that. Hang out in the green room back there. Don't go anywhere. We're going to wrap up with this song. And again, if you need help, it's in the description. Call 911. Find a trusted friend. Get somewhere safe. Distance.
Yep.
Reach out. We are rainclouds@gmail.com. Reach out. We've got resources we can send your way.
If you're a predator and can't control yourself and you can't go find help for yourself, there's a medicine for that. It's called 2 aspirin hot bath or razor blade. Do us all a favor and make room for the rest of us that matter.
One lead penicillin shot solves the problem.
That's right.
As my grandfather would say, go play in traffic.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's wrap with that song. Thanks, guys.
I pray to God that you would show one. I'd put a noose around your throat if I had one. No, I'd put this bullet through your skull if I had one. No, I don't have proof, but I would kill you if I had some. I'd go right back to when we met if I only could. Put poison thoughts inside your head, fuck you up for good. I'd love to torture you to death, and you know I would. Make sure the cancer doesn't spread. You got my confession, you can write this down. You ain't got no business, so shut your mouth. Now if they find you face down in a ditch, I hope they don't hear this. You took a choice away, like she was your friend, and I bet she's not the only one. If you think it's in the past, and you're over that, I would only ask, what would happen if I say your name? 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 I'd put a scar in you for life if I had the chance. I'd make it hurt but keep you alive. I can. I'd make you feel the way she did, with the worst parts in him. And then you'll be the victim of a man. You got my confession, you can write this down. You ain't got no business, so shut your mouth. Now if they find you face down in a ditch, I hope they don't hear this. You took a choice away, like she was bred, and I bet she's not the only one. If you think it's in the past, and you're over that, I would only ask, what would happen if I say your name? 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 us from the corners where the dreams collide. It's the little black rain cloud where the stories confide. Each episode a journey with laughter and tears, chronicling our struggles, our joys and our